And what is hot is the Department of Justice coming in hot, and they are pumping the brakes on the MLSPIN settlement, kind of completely out of the blue. First, the judge had some issues with how the money was going to be handled. That was like $3 million problem. And that got handled all set. And all the parties were like, we're ready to settle. And then just last week, the Department of Justice comes in with a statement of interest saying that, whoa, we don't believe the rule change, which is kind of the crux of this whole MLSPIN Nosalek court case. We don't think the rule change makes much difference in changing the competitive nature of the marketplace. So the judge was in love with the rule change. I literally think that's the word she used, if I'm not mistaken. And now the Department of Justice apparently is not in love with the rule change. You'll remember that the National Association of Realtors is not a party to the MLSPIN Nosalek case, but the principles at stake are effectively the same as they are in the mega commission lawsuits out in the Midwest, Stitzer, Burnett, those ones, Morrell. They're basically the same issue. And the National Association and the Department of Justice have had this on again, off again battle about antitrust for quite some time. So now, kind of, I don't want to say in the ninth inning, but certainly late in the fourth quarter, to mix my sports metaphors, here comes the Department of Justice with some significant reservations about the MLSPIN settlement. Let's go to real estate news for the details. Dave Gallagher with the report. DOJ questions MLSPIN settlement request delay. This is the second time the settlement has been in question. So let's see if we just swing. There we go here. What's happening? The United States has significant concerns with the planned rule changes under the proposed settlement. The Department of Justice has filed a statement with the court, adding that merely tweaking a buyer-broker commission rule to allow 0% commissions does little to make the market more competitive. The filing does not address the damage award amount. So the Department of Justice doesn't really care about the $3 million. They're interested in the principle of the marketplace being competitive. What does the case involve? We already know what the case involves. Here's the important part. If you're a real estate broker or a real estate agent here in Massachusetts, or you're looking at this from a kind of a national perspective, most people thought that this was going to go into effect. Most people thought that this rule change in Massachusetts was going to go into effect at the beginning of the year. Just kind of looking at the calendar, I was thinking like sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then, doing the math, everything's always delayed with anything court. So I was thinking beginning of the year. And that was the plan. January 4th. January 4th was the plan for a final settlement. But the Department of Justice has just asked that the final approval hearing be delayed until March 7th. So I'm thinking when the Department of Justice comes into federal court and asks a federal judge to pump the brakes on the whole situation, I'm thinking that the judge is probably going to offer some deference to the Department of Justice. And I'm guessing that this probably will result in an additional delay here with the MLSPIN case. Now, there's not been a ruling from the judge whether or not there'll be a delay. I'm sure the parties will get an opportunity to respond. But it is kind of like late in the game for the feds just to come out of nowhere and say, we got problems. And it wonders, this whole MLSPIN Nosalek case thing has always been, it's very important if you're here in Massachusetts, but it's really been a sideshow compared to the mega lawsuits out in the Midwest. And you wonder how this is now playing, this Nosalek thing is now playing with the court cases out in the Midwest. Plus, the Department of Justice's on again, off again battle with NAR. Now, just as some background for those of you who are not from Massachusetts, MLSPIN covers all of Massachusetts, actually covers some other states as well. and it has kind of a lock on about 80% of the marketplace here in Massachusetts. So it is also very important to note that the MLS PIN is broker owned. It's not owned by the National Association of Realtors or any local realtor board. So you don't have to be a realtor to join it. It does seem, especially after yesterday's news where Redfin announced that they are leaving the realtors wherever they can, that there's this push to bifurcate membership in the Realtor Association with membership in the multiple listing service, which I am absolutely positively applaud. As many of you know, I left the realtors back in 2019, I think it was. And yeah, never been happier. In fact, if anything, it's been a competitive advantage because I can now hire agents and I can say to them, hey, you don't have to pay this stupid $700 to the realtors. I own my own forms and we have the MLS PIN that's available to anybody that's licensed. And yeah, come on in, the water's fine. So, I've been able to hire a significant amount of agents because they understand that for the $700 or whatever they're paying, it's a horrific value and they're not getting their money's worth. And additionally, they hate to be forced. I've got to buy this thing in order to buy that thing. People hate that. They know in its core that is wrong, and it is. It's an antitrust violation, and agents have had enough of that. So we will see where this delay in the MLS PIN lawsuit goes.